A special treat in the summer is enjoying performing music in one of the most picturesque settings in all the city. At Harborfront Center, we've got Summer Music in the Garden Artistic Director Tamara. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Tell me what brought on this idea of having live performance in this beautiful garden.
Well, live performance was conceived right from the start as part of this garden. The garden is inspired. It is the only garden of which we know in the whole world that interprets a specific piece of music, specifically Bach's First Suite for solo cello, and each of the 6 sections of the garden corresponds to one movement of that piece. But from the start they said, okay, if we have a music garden, yeah, it's incredible work of art just in itself. And they said right from the start, okay, we want 2 sections of that garden to be designed so that we can have live concerts there in summer.
That is inspirational right from the ground up. So then in this summer, how many performances will we have?
20, and they're free.
Will they be everywhere, all around us here?
No, we have, well, in theory we have 2 spots, but we actually only use one because one of them is no longer big enough for our audience sizes. So the concerts take place in the section that's called the Gigue, which corresponds to the last dance movement of this Bach suite, and it's underneath a beautiful big willow tree, and there's a kind of terrace. They built a little bit of a hill and terraced it so people can sit on it, and there's this sort of arms of greenery that come around, and it feels like a kind of safe, cozy space filled with happy people listening to music.
It already sounds melodious just as you're describing it. In addition to Bach, there's all different kinds of music that will be on this summer. What kinds?
Yes, the programming is deliberately eclectic and kind of sometimes whimsical, but there's everything from, there's classical music from Western and many other traditions. There's, so you get string quartets, you get 17th century Baroque music, you get South Asian ragas, there's traditional music like taiko.
Now taiko, those are the big Japanese drums, right?
That's something that's just so special in this garden. We don't have to amplify those, and there's something absolutely magical about those.
Let's take a little step, because I'm thinking that sound has to fill this huge area just with the banging of those drums.
Yeah, and it's just incredibly. The visuals of that are really fun as well. Oh gosh, my mind is blanking, of course, on what else we have.
Because there's so much to do, right, in just 12 concerts. Will it only be string, classical, and taiko, or what other kinds of instruments can we look forward to in this beautiful setting?
Well, another annual thing we do, the brass and percussion sections of the National Youth Orchestra of Canada will be coming. There's a wind trio, 2 string quartets, a number of period instrument performances. There's going to be some Baroque dance. There will be Akwesasne women's singers, and a new piece written by Barbara Kroll that we've commissioned for traditional native flute and other instruments and clarinets. There's going to be, there's actually a lot of singing. There's storytelling this year.
As well, so it's not only the power of a musical instrument, but the human voice.
Yes, and it's interesting you should say that. This year, I sort of realized by accident after I handed in the season that there's a lot more voice than ever before. It's kind of it's a little storytelling thread coming through. Yes, from 15th century Italy to Dan Yashinsky with his storytelling, and a mezzo-soprano, Marta Hermann, is doing kind of crazy modern stuff as well as Renaissance stuff on the same program. It's very, I just love this sort of element of surprise. There's no need, because they're free concerts, you don't really have to get yourself in a box.
Well, that's my next wonder, is that if you're new to classical music, or if it's just not your scene, what would you say to people who are saying, I don't think that those series are something that speak to me?
Oh, don't ever say that about any kind of music. No, I mean, that's the fun thing. The concerts are free. They're in a beautiful place. Come down and try it. I have to say, I've been so delighted by the response to pretty hardcore classical music. For instance, string quartets, which I think are really, for me, quite a demanding, in some way, genre. Wonderful, but demanding. They absolutely fill up. I mean, they're one of our most popular things. 17th century Baroque music, which, the received wisdom is that this is a little bit funny stuff. People go crazy for it. Really? They run up, they want the names of all the composers. Yeah.
So the accessibility is something that's really not an issue. Everybody really rallies around it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really magical, and I take great pleasure in choosing performers who really connect with audiences and are passionate about what they do. And people love performing here because It's outdoors, of course, so you don't get the kind of church-like
Right.
silence, but you get this wonderful audience of people who are only there because they just love the music. And yeah, just I would say to people, just come and give it a go. What have you got to lose? You
When
know?
it's free, nothing. It's
And
just
it's
a
such a-
lovely afternoon or evening out.
Yes.
Now, we are experiencing a little bit of spitting right now. What happens if it rains in the summer and there's a concert scheduled?
Because we're outdoors, we do have we do have to cancel a concert if it rains, and there are no rain dates.
Because that's part of the spirit of a live
Part of the
performance,
spirit,
right?
Yeah, I should mention that it's once summer gets going, it's actually unusual in Toronto, famous last words, to have a whole day of rain.
It's true.
We often end up making a rain call quite close to the concert time. It goes on to the information line at Harbourfront usually, which is 416-973-4000. And
So people
yeah.
can call and find out for themselves. But I mean,
Yes.
what are the chances that, you know, a string quartet would wander through our rainy time right now? Hey, Tamara? It sounds like a wonderful thing for families to do, for a lovely evening, for couples to come out and maybe have a little romance in this beautiful setting
Oh
too.
yes, that always makes me happy when. Yes, it's a lovely romantic setting, and yes, the concerts are almost every Thursday evening at 7.
Wonderful.
And almost every Sunday at 4 p.m. and they last about an hour.
So make time in your schedules, rain or shine, to enjoy some wonderful music at Harbourfront Center. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Should we go grab an umbrella, Tamara? Let's go for it. Stay tuned, more daytime when we come back. Gosh, you've got to